introducing for a month. Now, PG-TAP includes most of the test more functions that you're used to in testing Perl, like okay, is, isn't, matches is the regular expression comparison, IMatches does the same thing case insensitively. We also have plan function, so you can tell how many tests you're going to run. No plan when you're not sure how many tests you're going to have. Diag for diagnostics as usual, and finish it knows when you're done running your tests. Plus a few extras, you can do light comparisons, SQL-like comparisons, case-insensitive light comparisons, and there's even throws okay and lives okay. So you can check to make sure that code is properly storing exceptions or not. So here's some basics. First, we have this stuff to keep the tests quiet, to keep PSQL from emitting a bunch of extra crap. Then begin a transaction. I run the plan. You can also have no plan if you're not sure how many tests you're going to run. Then you run your test using the functions I just showed you, and finish your test, tell it you're finished, and then roll back a transaction. Voila, you have unit testing in the database. So here's some practices. We have the is function, which I've shown you already, that compares to two values. Isn't compares to unlike values, matches with a regular expression, like with the like sequence. Throws okay, you pass it a string that you expect to throw an exception, and it'll catch it and provide true if you properly threw an exception. Oh, I didn't start that. That was stupid. Lives okay. Make sure it lives. So if you want to do a loop, you might think, well, just doing regular SQL can't do a loop. Well, it's actually quite easy. First, you create a temporary table, and then you insert a bunch of values into it, and then you select from that table. I've inserted 5 rows into the table, so this actually is 5 tests. And the output looks just like this. You can use it to validate your schema. Maybe you use triggers in your database. Perhaps you hash your password on insert. And so you can test it by going ahead in your test script, inserting a new user's record, and then checking to make sure that the password was properly hashed. Also, included with PG-TAP is PG-Prove, which runs your tests like Prove does, and it can run a whole bunch of SQL tests at once. This is actually old slides, that's too bad. What I will show you though, well, I did this at YAPC. So I submitted a bunch of patches to module build and XUtils MakeMaker and tap harness to be able to harness tests. We'll write it within your build process. Here's an example of that at work. So we have a database test, right? And we have a regular Perl test. If I run Perl and build test, you can see all in one suite, we got SQL tests and total tests all working together. So you can test your web apps this way, whatever you've got, heavy database stuff, you can have all your tests in one suite, you can test the whole thing as you go along. Thank you. Sorry, the jokes are in the other slides.
Not the only jokes.
Hello, I'm Eric Wilhelm, and this is the 2008 TPF SOC update. Everybody knows what that means, right?
Yep.
So I'm the administrator for the Perl Foundation for Google Summer of Code this summer. But the people who are really making it happen and making it possible are the names you see on this slide. The people at the top have been tasked with actually doing stuff throughout the summer. The other people are still actually kind of, some of them helping out, but all of them did sign up and say, I will help out, and some of them I've gone back to and asked them to do things for us, and thank you very much, all of you. Love to meet you afterwards. So how Google's Summer of Code works, just real briefly, March or some unannounced date up until the point where it's actually been announced, the organizations apply to be part of the Summer of Code. They then take a week and select the organizations And the students apply in late March and through early April, and this schedule is secret until they actually start the thing, because it's never a sure thing, basically. So you have to kind of pay attention. We don't exactly get invited, and it doesn't just happen. So there are lots of organizations. Apparently Google got some 4,000 proposals from organizations this year. So just about everybody else is paying attention to it. You do have to apply. Can I get a show of hands? How many students are in the room? Like qualifying college students, you'd be able to do summer of code. So we need to work on that. And so I maybe don't have to ask the second question. So the Perl Foundation, we have 40 mentors. We're really doing well on the volunteerism on that side, and I love it that the Perl community has that many people willing to step up and help out. But only 12 proposals from students. So there's clearly a sort of lack of Perl in universities. And I've talked to a few people about it. The summer job thing may be it. But also, you know, how many sort of off-the-wall theoretical projects are happening in Perl. The theoretical stuff is whatever language was being taught in the CS theory classes and whatnot. That's, you know, one guess. So we ended up with 6 funded slots, which is actually really good compared to the number of students that applied to any given organization and the number of slots that any organization got on average. 6 slots is actually pretty good. We did lose one student who basically just wasn't willing to do the work in a fishbowl that Summer of Code is all about. That's what open source is, and that's what Google wants to see. And we, you know, need to see regular progress and updates. So I'm going to go over this year's projects. When I get to yours, I'm going to kind of be describing them. I don't know how I'm doing on time. But, you know, stand up and wave. Shout out. So we've got flesh out the Perl 6 test suite, which is taking the synopsis writing test, so that we have a full test suite for the spec for Perl 6. WXCPAN Plus is a graphical CPAN client to search, you know, select, read pod documentation of, and install modules from CPAN, and possibly will be sort of the default in chocolate Perl when we get there right here. Native call interface signatures and stub generation for Parrot. I kind of know what that means. The NCI interface, being able to load a C library and call functions out of it without having to define your XS code or whatever code. So in Parrot now, apparently it has the ability to statically compile these things ahead of time, and then you can use them from whatever backend. With the stubs generation here, we're doing this at runtime, right? And that allows any language to say, I want an NCI for that. They don't have to do any kind of setup at all. So they would have, you know, any SO library that's on your system, or DLL, whatever. Tricolor garbage collector for Parrot is a mark and sweep, 3 colors of dead, maybe dead, and still alive. Checking of the objects, which will help with multi-threading and parallelism in Parrot, among other things, sanity, and it's not a ref counter, right? MathGSL is a SWIG interface to the GSL GNU scientific library. Various trigonometric and, well, much deeper than trigonometric functions, integrals and whatnot, C code, so binding to that in Perl 5 with an XS there using SWIG. So they're all doing a great job. I love seeing the commits, the weekly updates. We've got a Placker set up here. You can read my journal on Use Perl or Google for it. You'll find stuff in the wiki if you need the link there. So you can follow along with the blogs. Any people testing code from a Summer of Code project that aren't directly mentoring?
Hi, my name is Fred Myers. I work at USA Today, and most of you probably see USA Today outside your door every morning. And I thought it would be fun to go through the newspaper and show you how much Perl is used and what would be missing if Perl suddenly stopped working. So I'll start with the front page, and if you look down here at the bottom left is barcode. We use Perl to generate barcode based on the publication date, so that would be gone. And you have your page without the barcode. Next thing in here is we have a big display across the USA. There's a little bit for each state. That also goes through a Perl script, so that's gone. We got half a page there. Every fall, every November when we have the elections, we do a big elections spread. We go out and fetch data from an FTP site, and we do various things. There's this little results at a glance up at the left-hand side. It's pulled together from a bunch of different files. That's gone.
I hope Perl isn't used for glitches. I read that.
Okay. No, I don't think so. We also have a big display for the U.S. House. All of that's gone, so we've got a big empty page. We have governor's races, all the national races, and the statewide referendums. Governor's races pulls together text from our production system and data from AP, Perl script, puts all of that stuff together. And same thing with the statewide results. It's a little bit that we put in for each state, each election. Governors are gone, statewide stuff is gone, so again, we've got the empty page there. If you're interested in books, we do a book display every week. Investments on the books. We have a big books database that is processed. This is not processed with Perl, but the output comes out of that and goes to a Perl program, and that's all gone. So we've got a lot of empty space here. TV Nielsen ratings, very similar to books list. There's a couple people that pull all the data out of off a website. They format it, and it comes into our processing system as tab-delimited file, and then formatted. This one's pretty heavily formatted to get it into this format, so once it goes into the system, it just drops in. That's gone. There's just another little piece that comes in automatically from an FTP site. It's a little bit about late night talk show, so that's gone too. Getting into our money section, every Monday we have a big display on how last week's stocks did, and a good portion of that is formatted with Perl as using FTP to go get things in the format, so that's gone. Another good Perl. Note that it does leave the rules though, so you get the rules there. Stocks is probably, well, the first part of this is just a daily setup on how the stocks have done. I'll put the tables, those disappear. And then we have a big stocks program. This is probably the biggest program that we've done with Perl. It does a lot of composition calculations for each of the little columns within the columns. Pulls down from another APFTP site. That's all gone. And again, the rules. All of the stocks are gone. There's another funds thing. These are quarterly neutrals, one once a quarter. And then one of the biggest uses of Perl is in the sports page. We have things like the standings, their standings, results, you want to know how everybody did, that's gone. You want to know the games coming up, those are gone too. Box scores, it's all gone. Batting, or just stats for baseball, so all of that stuff is gone. Individual stats, this is baseball in particular, those are gone. Team stats, those are gone. So this just kind of shows you how much Perl is actually used in producing a newspaper. Because I showed you baseball in particular, all the sports are the same. And then remember the barcode that's missing, that means you can't buy it. But it'll still be outside your door at the hotel. Thank you.
So, if you remember Y2K, we were all supposed to be, the whole world was going to explode, we'd be looking at our Y2K shelters, and there'll be cats and dogs living together, and total mass hysteria, right? Well, Y2K came, it didn't happen, and now it's 2008, and we're home free, right? And even if I don't have my flying car, I should at least be able to have a computer that knows what day it is.
Is that chromatic? That fits.
So this guy, Jay Stockton, published the critical and significant dates, which is perhaps the most fascinating list of dates out there. It's an interesting read. It's not about your dating history, but it's about dating time values in the past and future, going all the way from the beginning of the universe, which is generally considered to be a bad idea, out to the beginning of the Unix epoch, since Unix counts the number of seconds since 1970, will be significant later, all the way out to the end of the world. And all the crazy exceptions in between. So what's the problem? Well, it turns out that in dating, size matters. So if we set our time, number of seconds since 1970, to be 2 to the 31st minus 1, then the result we get is January 19, 2038, the end of the Unix world. Add one measly little second to that. Whoops. So now we've gone from our flying car to no car. So normally Perl lets us forget that we're running on running software on actual silicon, actual hardware. The hardware has these limits. And these limits are because of things like 32-bit undefined double floating point registers, or whatever the C folks like to talk about. But Perl is supposed to shield us from all that. But sometimes it doesn't. Things leak through. And it leaks through on this date, 2038, January 19. That's when 32-bit signed Unix time will fail. All you people with Macs right now, most of them Unix machines, everybody, all your machines are going to fail. But okay, you can make that bigger, and you can use 64-bit. Then you can go out to, then you have the year 932 billion problem. And then you can let's go out to 128-bit, then you have the 5 nonillion problem. And let's go out to 256 bits, and you have the 1 million vigillion problem. And finally, the ultimate barrier there are only 10 to the 80th particles in the universe. So in the year 2 to the 10th to the 80th, it is now impossible to write the year. That's the physical limit of our computing power. So oddly enough, I started an argument about what to do with this on P5P. I thought it would be pretty obvious we should fix it. But there was an argument, imagine that, on P5P. So the C programmers were arguing that since GM time, internally, with the C function, Perl uses time t. And time t on most machines these days is still assigned to 32-bit integer on a 32-bit machine. And 32-bit numbers overflow when you hit 2 to the 31st. So this comes out to be that, of course. Therefore, you got exactly what you asked for. So what's the problem? Oh, and by the way, you should all be using 64-bit clean machines. But Perl is supposed to do what I need. And I really don't care about 32-bit unsigned blah, blah. And more importantly, my clients don't care. So when they get 1901, I can't say that, oh, that's because of blah, and expect them to nod knowingly. No, they're going to say, you're fired! So in Perl, a number is a number. Perl is kind of a closet Ayn Rand fan now. And I don't care how the numbers are represented internally. Perl gives no indication about how they're represented internally. There is no reason for a Perl programmer to even suspect that there is this limit to how big a number can be. We never taught this in school, in math, or anything. Math has no limits to the number of integers you can have. So we have to fix this. But why do you care? I mean, it's 2038. We've got 12 and a half years to go. And by that time, I'll be eligible for the AARP, and I hope I live that good in 30 years. But how many people here have a 30-year mortgage? Now you got to start understanding the problem. And even worse, how many people here are still using or know somebody who's using 561? Right. That came out 7 years ago. So let's do some math. Let's go 7 years into the future. 29 years left, minus 7, some years ahead. We have 22 years left to go. In 7 years, people will probably still be using 510, which still has a year 2038 button. So how many people here have a 20-year mortgage? Yeah, so we better fix this problem now because people don't upgrade very quickly. So fortunately, the Perl Foundation was generous enough to fund my project to do just that, and thus all of you through your donations to the TPM. And I figured out a way to solve the 2038 problem in a generic manner, meaning it fixes the C's underlying local timing. Ryan Graham has been nice with hooking up with the Perl guts, and you can get the code here. Unfortunately, it's down right now, but I don't have time to explain to you how I'm doing this. That's another show, but I have a solution that exemplifies that it's not the size of time t that matters, but how you use it. So, and once 2038 is taken care of, we'll talk about the year 2 billion problem. So, thank you.
What am I?
So, I'm Brad Fitzpatrick. I used to write a lot of Perl. LiveJournal, Memcache, which is in Perl. Mogals, yeah. So anyway, I work at Google now. I don't get to write any Perl, not really, because it's not like a supported language or whatever. But now Google has this app engine thing, and we're going to display them. Anyway, so right now, App Engine is only Python, which is okay if you know Python, but I don't really. So, yeah, okay, let's skip that. Anyway, so I want to put Perl on App Engine, and I got permission to kind of run it as an open source project, even though it's kind of like just a 20% project inside Google. So, this basically involves making a hardened environment. App Engine basically, unlike S3 or something like virtual machine thing, you don't get a box. The whole philosophy of App Engine is you upload your code and they run it, and you don't know if it's running on one machine or 10,000 machines. It's totally transparent to you. And you don't get like a MySQL database, you're on Bigtable. They basically don't give you anything that you can shoot yourself in the foot with, that they can't automatically like turn a knob and scale you automatically like really wide. So so it's a little bit of a different environment. So we need to harden Perl so it can't like do anything like interact with the system. So we started writing just yesterday. Arthur took his old Acme go to line module, and let's see what it is. Let's see what it does as well. So anyway, we wrote this sysprotect module, which basically goes through and removes all the Perl opcodes that do anything that's unnecessary for a web app. You know, you don't need to do a syscall or backtick or select or sockets or anything like this. So pretty much you can open files, and you can't write to any files. You can't open any sockets. You can write to file descriptors that are already open. So we have that running now, and we started writing a little server. Here is a little CGI script running inside of a hardened environment. Here I tried to like do an unlink, and I get denied, and it throws an error instead. We plan to, instead of, so the Python implementation of App Engine comes, or the Python development kit comes with mock implementations of all like the Bigtable stuff and the URL fetching, because you can't have sockets. So if you want to like
LWP get something, you wouldn't normally be able to do that because you have to go through this API proxy layer. So basically, I made this blog post saying, Perl hackers, I'm working on this, help me out. And so basically, there's that engine server, and you get standard in, standard out, standard error. And if you want to do anything special, you call this trusted XS module. Well, it'll be something like trusted Perl XS module that you give it a protocol buffer as input, as a request, which is like storable or pickle or whatever. Google just open sourced their serialization format recently. So, and then it does something, like it goes to a big table, or it goes out, fetches a URL, or it goes to memcache. I added memcache to App Engine recently. And then you get back a response. And you can do this asynchronously, all scatter gather and stuff. So right now, there's only Python support on App Engine, and I would love Perl to be here. So I'm also working on protocol buffers for Perl, because we need this communication layer. And I need to link a libperl that has all the bad app codes removed. Basically, this sysprotect module is just for development, so people that are playing with an App Engine environment on their own machine don't need to pre-build the Perl. They can just link in this module instead, which probably you can get around, but it's pretty good. So that's basically it. I'm probably going to be bugging people about getting help. I'm just trying to learn Moose now to make for protocol buffers, and it'd be great if I had some configure flags for building Perl or building libperl that I could basically say none of these are even compiled. Like they just don't exist in the libperl binary. I don't want to do safe.pm. I don't want to turn it off at runtime. I do not want it to exist in the object code at all. And we'll have to basically implement all the same restrictions that the Python sandbox has. And so, this isn't like the only layer of defense in App Engine. They have like layers and layers of paranoia. But this is the first layer of paranoia, and this one has to be pretty damn good. So I'll use the last minute for questions if anyone has any. Otherwise, I'll wrap this up. Yeah?
Have you heard of Perl, CA Perl?
The capability Perl that Ben Laurie did?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, don't think it's quite applicable for this.
Okay.
But yeah. All right, cool.
By the way, thank you for doing that.
Yes.
G'day everyone. This is my first OSCon, and it has just been fantastic. So, thank you all everyone. I love Portland. I've been very, very impressed, and the beer's not bad. Being in Australia, that's saying quite a bit. Now,
It's considered
slides running. I'll use the slide later. Am I being counted this time? Oh yes. Oh yeah, okay. That's how lightning talks are supposed to happen. Okay, so here we go. That's not supposed to appear there, it's supposed to appear here. And then, when I do this, you're supposed to see it. Okay. Sorry about the delays there. Hi everyone, my name's Paul. I work with Perl Training Australia. I own Python Perl Training Australia. I'm talking to you about AutoDie. Now this here is fundamentally a talk about error handling, and it's a talk about error handling in Perl. Now I don't know if anyone here has tried to do much error handling in Perl, but what you rapidly discover is that it sucks badly. Here I've got a typical statement in Perl 5, opening the file. And here I've got the error handling code to look after that. Notice there is more error code than there is real code. The other problem with this is it makes bugs very, very easy, because all you have to do to get a bug into your code is to simply have an open statement like that and not check its return value. And it gets worse. I can have a subroutine, like find note here, which takes a file name, goes looking through a set of directories, tries to open the file. If it finds it, it returns it. If it can't find it, it returns undead. Now this is obviously expecting what it was calling it to check for that undead. But if you don't check for that, and you then pass it off to another subroutine elsewhere, expecting it to be a file handle, then you can try and grab it, use it, and what you get is a warning here, which might be hundreds or thousands of lines away in a completely different file. That's what's called sideways propagation, and it sucks in really terrible and strange ways. So wouldn't it be nice if we could get Perl to to generate these errors? Well, it can. Some of you might be aware of the fatal module. It's come with Perl for like ever. And all you do is you say, use fatal open. And then all you need to do is say, open my file, and it will open or die automatically. But has anyone here used fatal before? A few people put up their hands. Have you looked at the error messages you get from fatal? Here's an error message which you'd like to write yourself. Can't open some file.txt for reading, no such file or directory. Here is the error message you get from fatal. It's ugly. Too ugly. And it gets worse. Because fatal has package-wide scope. This means I can do an open up here, I can have my hundreds or thousands of lines of code, then I can have a subroutine which tries to use fatal. The fatal down there, because it has package-wide scope, changes the open at the top of my file. That sucks in a really odd way. So, let's fix it. I have just finished and properly released AutoDie. The way in which AutoDie works is anywhere you would write use fatal in your code, you now write use AutoDie in your code. The important thing is that AutoDie is lexical, so it lasts until the end of your current block. So here I've got an open, here I've got my hundreds of lines of code, here I've got use AutoDie open in my subroutine. That works. It only changes the open inside the subroutine. It also gives you better error messages. So here's the ugly thing which I got from fatal. Here is the error message which I get from AutoDie. It's like one I'd write myself. Now fatal does have another problem. If I try and do a whole bunch of fatals here, and then I do an eval to try and find out, which one failed or to capture that, when I get down here, how do I know which one failed? I can say something went wrong, I don't know what it was. If you're using AutoDie on the other hand, hey, first of all you can put your AutoDie inside that block eval, then you can do all of your functions, and then you can say, if you're using 510, given my error, when it's undefined, there wasn't an error. When it was open, it came from open. When it's I.O., it was some sort of I.O. error. If it's any error message or any error object coming from AutoDie. And there's a default there as well, in case I call a legacy error. Now, I'm going to have to go very quickly here. You can inspect the error. You can see the dying sub, you can see the caller, your line, your file, your package, and your pretty printed error if you want to. And you can rethrow the error if you want to. You can also subclass it. So when we were trying to develop AutoDie, everybody hated the name. Nobody wanted to come up with a good name. So they had lethal, make fatal, lethargy, kvetchy, unforgiving as suggestions. So let's fix that. Let's give it a new name. My favourite name for it is Bitchin' Built-ins. Thank you, Raph. Bitchin' Built-ins. Package Bitchin' Built-ins, use space AutoDie 1. I'm done. I can now say use Bitchin' Built-ins in my code. I can also do language packs. I'm from Australia. When something happens in Australia and you're surprised, you say crikey. So package crikey, use base AutoDie. I'm going to redirect my throw to use my own class. And then inside crikey's truth, I'm going to base that on AutoDie exception. And I'm going to say, when you stripify my exception, get the base error message, say struth, mate. Here's the error. Time for a beer. Now, this is going into core, but if you want to, you can download it, and it works right now for Perl 5.8 and 0 and above. So everyone, you can now love your errors in Perl. Thank you very much.
Use parent, not base.
Yes. You can do any sort of inheritance you want. But sorry, use what? Not base?
Parent.
Parent. I'll correct my slides next time.
Okay, I don't have a fun slide. I have something I use about every single day. I work for message systems. We have an MTA. You've probably not heard of us. We're out there. But we have our testing suite. Obviously, we have to test our MTA. And we need to test all of the different features of our MTA, so we have all of those eSync extensions. But we also need to break it at various points to make sure that our code, our MTA, doesn't break. And it would be very nice to easily subclass whatever we're using to do that, so we can have different methods. Now, initially, when I got there, we were using NetSymphony, which is part of the Net in core stable API. That's not necessarily a good thing. It's not easily subclassable, and it's not easily extendable. Bren's done good things over the years, but it's basically showing its age. So I wrote NetSymphony eSymphony. It's a similar API, it has more or less the same calls, but it's built in to explicitly support new keywords, so any of the extended simply commands you can use, it's easily suppressible, and it's shown. So now we go to... So with the original NetSimpy, when you type new, it will automatically open up your connection. Well, we don't necessarily want to do that right away. We want to just connect and then say hello, because we want to test whether the server has sent commands before the banner. We've got, I broke that down. I also have built-in TLS, built-in SSL, so that you can test all of the various features of SSL connections, built-in auth if you have optional sections. You can send data badly to make sure that your MTA doesn't break on badly sent data, so like you can have airline feeds, you can show bad data, which the original NetSimpy didn't do because it cleaned it up for you. And this is the one that I particularly like, adverb. You can create in your code any command that you want that your server supports. So for example, if you're running postfix, you have xclient. Xclient allows you to lie to the server and say, no, my IP address is actually that, because that's how you test all of your blacklists and all that. So using it is extremely simple. It's basically the same thing as NetSimpy, but you have a lot more control. So here, you can see I'm saying no EHLO. So when I connect, it doesn't automatically make that hello connection. So when I can call connect manually, I can call EHLO manually. Here's my off. Similarly, here we've got the start TLS, which you can do at any point. So that if you do it later in the connection, the server is supposed to tell you, well, you can't do that. And here we go, adverb. There's now a new command called extraremote IP, which is kind of like xclient. And it allows you to basically rewrite your Simpy client to match your Simpy server. That's it.
My name is Brock, and I thought I'd show you what happens when you take several totally awesome things and mix them together and start off. I have a module called continuity, and it does weird bug things. But let's start with devel REPL. Devel REPL is a reading while print loop for Perl. This I have started already. You can do some stuff. You guys have seen it already. Stuff like that, right? Okay. Now, I have here a very simple continuity application. Continuity, you can think of it as having its own web server if you like. More to it than that. CL. Anyway, I have a simple counter application here, but I have a magical button, which when you click on it, gives you a read about printer, and it's exactly the same as the other one. But you can do scary things. It gives her a catalog. So this is actually running in this counter application continuously. Unlike other web applications, it doesn't stop between hits. So we can say, we can look up the call stack a little bit and get a counter. And we can actually look at the current count and reset it to something like 77. Exit, and well, the magic, it actually is editing the variables in line. But for this, I think we can do something even. Let's, let me show something real first. The code for this counter has a subroutine called prompt here, and it just inputs with this request, which is a continuity thing, it's the current incoming request, a message and a list of operations. And I think that we can improve on it somewhat. Pull out the request, and maybe print out we'll even call it.
Looks like you didn't end the quote on your string on line 3.
It just wrapped around.
Oh, I see it.
You're cool. And let's we'll just kind of save the old one and place it with the new one. That's it. If you guys want to see more, you can go look at the Continuity website or ping me, learn about Padwalker and develop REPL and Power REPL. Okay.
Hey, I'm Jerry Gay. I'm working on Computer and Parrot, and this talk's called Bottle Lightning. I'm building a language using Parrot Compiler Toolkit. Actually, I'm building a Turing-complete language using Parrot Compiler Toolkit. Originally, I was going to type this live, but that takes more than 5 minutes. If it wasn't Turing-complete, I could do it in all 30 seconds. So the first thing that you do, well, after you have got Parrot from the CPAN or from Subversion and build Parrot is make a language shell by running a shell script using Perl, using the shell script. Specify the name of the language here. I'm calling it Lightning, and it generates a whole bunch of files for you. README, makefile shell, template file, I should say. The parser, grammar generator, and some text. Takes no time. Next thing you do is run the tests, and you'll find when you do that they pass, which is wonderful. So that's exciting. Now we have a language, but what does it do? Well, not much. So let's modify it, add some things, make it a real language. So we'll add some while statements and variables. We'll edit the file named sort parser grammar. And here it is. This is what it looks like. It's a Perl 6 grammar file. If you're not familiar with them, then you need to read synopsis file. Make a couple changes to it. Here's a diff. In the statement rule, where statements are defined, I'm going to add a while statement, a say statement for printing, and expressions. So here's the while statement. We're parsing a while token, expression, statement. The say statement, which you can say any expression, or separated by comma, a number of expressions. That's a slight change, forget that. And then variables here. Now we define what we can call a variable and added it to the Turing token. And this is what the grammar looks like when it's done. You can see the while statement has been added here. It's another type of statement, etc., etc. It's very simple. Moving on, next, modify the operator precedence parser. So we'll add a couple of operators here. A modulo operator, some comparison ops, a ternary op, and assignment. So similarly, there's a file in the parser directory called grammar opera. And here's what it looks like when the language shell script is run. And we're going to add those operators to it. Here's a diff. Here's the modulo operator, and you can see it's at the equivalent prefix to multiply and divide operators, and it's calling a peer operator here. You don't really need to know much about that. Next, we're adding some relational operators, equal to and not equal to, and putting them at the proper level of precedence. Ternary operator, one that's familiar to you from Perl 5. Adding a past type. Past is Parrot's abstract syntax tree. and it has a type of node called if that Turner is the same as. And lastly, adding assignment, again giving it precedence, saying that it's right associative, it binds, and it's an alpha. And now here is the operator precedence parser file when we're done. Moving on, the abstract syntax tree generator. And this is what generates the abstract syntax tree. I don't have much time to show it to you, but here's the changes we make to it. Here I'm creating an op node. This gets the abstract syntax tree from the expression. Here's the abstract syntax tree from the statement, and creating an abstract syntax tree type for a while. And similarly for variable. There's the finished file. And Parrot Compiler Toolkit does the rest. That's a really nice thing, is that after you've generated your parser and your abstract syntax tree, Parrot takes care of the rest, generates a peer for you, and runs it. And so that's the next thing that we'll do, is run it. I will take this code here and copy it to clipboard. Move over. This is how we call lightning.bbc. And if I paste it in here, you can see that it runs. And that's it. It just created a Turing-complete language. Okay.
Hi, my name is Jeff Horowitz, and I embed languages where they don't belong. So what I'm going to do is take Jerry's Lightning language and embed it in Apache to create a persistent execution environment like Perl in 5 minutes or less. Most of this won't make any sense because it takes 5 minutes, and I don't have time to explain, but let's try it out. So the first thing we're going to do is take Jerry's language, which has magically appeared on my computer, and compile it. Done. Then we're going to move over to the mod Parrot source directory. And we're going to run a tool called make HLL shell, and this will create some code to actually create the module for the specific language. We're going to add some registry support in there, so it'll act like a module registry. We'll call it Lightning. Done. That created this file, lightning.peer, which you don't have to understand anything of. And we're going to take a few things out of there that we don't need. Because all we need to do is load code and run it. Okay. We'll add our language to the make file. We'll make our libraries. And Lightning was compiled. Now we'll copy the compiled bytecode. Lightning.pbc. Over to my production directory here. Okay. Now we'll edit http.conf. Go down to the bottom here. And we're going to load that file. modparrot/hln/lightning.pbc. And we're going to add a line type for it called application/x httpd lightning. And we'll associate that with the .light extension. Hopefully all of you can see that at the bottom of the screen here. Then we'll tell my parrot to, oops, yeah, that's right, to associate that MIME type with the language called Lightning. Done. Now we start Apache up. Done. Now let's write a handler, or actually just some regular CGI style code. And we can do it in Lightning. So we'll call this foo.light. And we need that .light extension. And let's create a counter. Because I've been doing that all day myself. So here we're just creating a counter that starts.
Semicolon?
It didn't need it.
Sweet.
We'll just create a counter that increments each time we reload it. And let's try that. Because we can write things like that so easily, we can also have things like this. And because I have, 30 seconds, cheeseburger.wall. This is written in wall code in a persistent execution environment. We feed it 6 cheeseburgers. We feed it 7 more, it adds 13. We feed it 200 more. Thank you.
Hi, that's it for me now. I was warned on Tuesday. I didn't have a chance to give a speech on the stage, so I'd like to make this opportunity to say thank you for everyone, to my MC and stuff like that. Thank you very much. Okay. I usually give this talk in 40 minutes, but this is 5 minutes, so let's be really quick. How many of you have done screen scraping? Yeah, that's lots of it. With LP and regular expressions, maybe? Yeah. That's bad. Don't do that. Because it's fragile. And every time the site updates to HTML, slide a little bit, your code stops working, right? And it's hard to find bugs like that, and it's impossible to make it work again. You need to probably write it from the beginning to do that. So what's the better way to do this? I have a logical web scraper on Japan that was inspired from a Ruby module called Scrappy.rb. It has a kind of domain-specific language style syntax, and it allows you to extract the HTML elements using CSS, set up as expression or XPath expression. And it has almost complete DOM, Unicode, and HTTP handling. It's much better than using WP without any modules. So it comes with command line interface, so it's actually really easy and fun to, toy with the data on the shell and then copy that into the script later. So I'm going to give you a quick demo. Let's take an example like OSConLightningLanguages schedule web page. It has a bunch of complicated HTML to display the list of the talk. Let's take the name of the talk and speaker from this HTML and get the list of it in hash reference maybe. as an example. Don't say that the iCal is available, so it's much easier to get a list from the iCal, but let's get that other notation, not position. The first thing you need to do to figure out the expression, like either XPath or CSS select expression to match that element. These days, you have Firefox and Firebug and Safari, the dev inspector thing that tells you the hint of CSS select XPath expression to match that element. And Selenium IDE has a nice, candidates to suggest the XPath to match these elements. So you can make full use of these. And eventually you figure out this OSCON 2008 schedule page HTML looks like this. So it has a div container that has a class attribute free event, and it has a span plus that has summary with the link and title and speaker and stuff like that. It's actually a micro format for free content. So it's really a solid and well-designed HTML. We'll give it a good name. So the command line interface comes with scraper, it's called scraper. So you're gonna give the URI that you want to play with, but maybe you can do like pass to HTML, or like do some command and take that standard name to scraper as well. So you get that, and you can like something like this. Take all the 8 tags from this HTML and dump it. So you will get all the HTML, right? You will probably want to get an image tag that comes right after the A rather than image. And you will get the image tag that comes right after the A. So what you need to do to get the list of tags is to do something like this. So what you need to get is the free event and then the description. That means the element that has a class attribute that matches with this. And with this square bracket means you want to get a list and not only the single element. And get the text code of it out of this HTML. So you do this, and when you type D, and you get a data type output of the speaker names. And when you type Y, you will get a YAML. And I don't have time to explain a little more than that, but you can write a more complex one to get a hash reference that has a key speaker, the speaker name and title, the talk title. And so finally, you can type C to get the code that you can actually paste into some PL to run it again. So that's it. Get it from CPAN.
Hello. For many years, Mr. Tom Lehrer, who has been my particular idol since childbirth, has been doing a routine about the great Russian mathematician Nikolai the secret of the success in this magic profession. And I thought it would be interesting to adapt the idea to the field of open source. I always like to make explicit that before I went off not too long ago to call the Postgres, I was an open source hacker by profession. I don't like people to get the idea that I have to do this for a living. I mean, it isn't as though I have to do this, but I can make what, $3,000 a year just coding. But then, as you may, some of you might have occasions to run into hackers and to wonder therefore how they got in that way. And here, in particular, in partial explanation perhaps, is the story of the great hacker, Leonid Anovich-Volkovsky. I'm still on the People's Republic of Poland. Who may be the hacker I am today? The one who's marching all out the import? Who's the linguist that made me that way? The greatest ever robot in this code. One man is a man, Larry Anovich Volkovsky, this is his name. Hey, Larry Anovich Volkovsky. I'll never forget it until I first meet the great Volkovsky. In one word, he told me the secret in open source success. Plagiarize. Plagiarize. Remember what is walking, plagiarize. Remember what you don't plagiarize, so don't change your eyes, but plagiarize, plagiarize, plagiarize. Only make sure always to call it, please share it. Since I made this name, my life is not the same. Larry Anovich Volkovsky is his name. Hey, Larry Anovich Volkovsky. I'll never forget the day I got given my first program to write. It was temporally controversial, virtual connected quantum realistic parallel time space fusion. This I know from nothing. But when I put the word Volkovsky, I get the idea. I have a friend in this. His friend in Amazon. His friend in Excel has his friend in Python. His friends are how solving another problem in OSCON. And when this work is done, how begins the fun from OSCON to Python by waiting to Flickr to Excel to Amazon to Kings, to Juice to Goose to the news will run. Yes, to me the news will run. But morning and afternoon, and pretty soon my dad was stressed. When he finds out I will upload it first. And who made me big success? Who made me big success and for me was the plan? Larry Anovich Volkovsky is his name. Hey, Larry Anovich Volkovsky. I'll never forget the day my first system module was uploaded. Every function I stole from someone else. As soon I copied from old Vex installation CD. This module was sensational. Already read, I said, 平常当然是已经不是新手了。Background said, 你如何为有些归位而有一定 stinks. Metro Goldwyn Oscar was the movie rights for 6 million Yankee pesos, changed the title to Infinite Loop. Arthur Bergman played part of Stackford. And who deserves the credit? Who deserves the blame? Larry Anovich Volkovsky is his name. Hey!
Thank you for putting me up after that talk. I can't believe that they let me say this stuff here at conference. See if it pops up on the right side. Excellent, it doesn't. This is difficult stuff.
Main screen turn
I
on.
was giggling at all the other presenters. Come on, look, there you go.
Yeah. I have that.
Now we go here. I finally can say, fuck, the fucking thing is fucked. So, I'm here today as a private citizen, not as an employee of Ripe NCC, because they would never let me say that the fucking thing is fucked. So, Ripe is one of the 5 RIRs. Basically, we give you IP space to run your services. In the US, Aaron.net is your RIR, you might know them better. If you're a network operator, you might know us as Santa Claus. So, we're the yellow ones. We service Europe, Russia, Middle East. We are authoritative for registration, for routing and contact information. If you want to explain it to your mom, we run the internet. Practical use will be like routing tables, filters of use contacts, geocoding even. Demand for IPv4 is at an all-time high, and v4 unfortunately is finite. We have rules and policies in place to make sure that we can keep it as long as we can, but we're still running out soon. This might actually be somewhat relevant to you. This is on data from about 5 months ago, and this assumes that there's going to be no changes in policy and behavior, which of course there will be because people start reporting. In the end, let's say in May 2010, you will get no more IPv4. So we had a plan, although very simple. V4 would go down, we'd use more V4, we'd start deploying V6, and by the time V4 runs out, V6 would be at the point of the size of the internet, and it'll be fine. Unfortunately, plans aren't always the same as reality. So, this is the new plan. At some point... Because the big problem is not us right now. We don't need so much IP space. But when the iPhone or some other device like that really takes off, those need IP space, and we don't have enough left for them. So the next killer app, in my opinion, most likely mobile devices, will be the thing that makes us completely run out. And that just means no sense for you. So, coping with crises is a very important thing. This is a I think I may have stolen from Perl 6 presentations.
That was years ago. It's public domain now.
Yeah, it's years ago. It's public domain. It's all fine. So the big question, of course, is how are we going to cope? NAT could save this a while longer. The complexity will increase and it doesn't actually scale. So IPv6 is actually the only way forward. And when your users need IPv6, you must have already been having implemented. And the small problem is you're not ready. You're fucked. And the reason you're fucked is there is no such thing as a first mover advantage in IPv6. There is no point in you being the first one on v6 because nobody will actually connect to you. So vendors and operators don't want to go first. Cisco is looking at Juniper, Juniper's looking at Cisco, and nobody's actually implementing it. So here's the new plan. We need to create demand scheme. Because the solution is hearing, hearing, hearing. The more people that do it, the more people that want to use it, the more people that hop on the bandwagon. So, what are the 2 things that people really, really want? Money. Or porn. No. They want free porn. So, that's free money. Free money or free porn. Porn technically is free money. So, let's talk a little bit about what porn can bring you. Just imagine that there will be a website out there somewhere. And if you connect to it over IPv4, it will tell you how to connect it to v6. The v4 will be a how-to, and the v6 will be a content delivery network. Content of highly desired content in HD for free, but only over v6. So now we get to, let's create demand. Does Joe Blow want free porn? Yes. None of you want free porn. None of you are married. Sorry. So, the idea is that the content delivery network provides free access. The users will want
the users will pressure the ISPs to adopt v6. Now, previously, v6 was attempted top-down. And free porn, of course, is bottom-up. So you can do your part in helping to deploy v6 by watching lots and lots of IPv6experiment.com. After the talks, go check it out. Thank you very much.
Quick, invoke the spirit of Steve Jobs.
Continuing in a similar vein to the previous presentation, I'm here to talk about O'Reilly's other publishing arm, called Perl. Now, O'Reilly Associates, as you all know, is famous for annual books, thousands of pages of mind-numbing detail on the technology which will be obsolete by the time you finish reading this book.
Hey.
But there's just one problem. It doesn't really rake in the cash. So, to improve the bottom line, O'Reilly launched a new imprint. Pulp Pearl. It's the most fun you can have reading with both hands. It's tantalizing and titillating, scandalizing and scintillating. It's seamy, sultry, top-bodied, tawdry, and as my local PBS affiliate used to say of Monty Python, it's unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Now, when I think of Perl, I think delinquency. So they published the Perl punks, the hackers who ruled the world, the prey who roamed the internet beating up old ladies and stealing their bandwidth. And then, of course, there's Cloak and Dagger, the man from CIA. And then, of course, some true crime stories, software development mysteries, hacker heist as NDA was down the barrel of a gun, source code capers, they spelled version control murder. Plus, other tales of technological intrigue. Of course, there's tales from the war, Major Act versus Colonel Panic and server wars, or Major Act done by friendly fire. And then, of course, there's Hackers in Space as a special dual booth edition. And then, the story of Linux retold in terrifying tales of Tux, how the mighty fist of the penguin defeated the Microsoft monster. And then, of course, they had introduced a title about Python, an epic tragedy of betrayal and significant white space. They abandoned Perl for Python, seduced by the snake, an object-oriented mystery by Guido van Hassen. And then, of course, the real moneymaker is the kinky stuff. Oh, don't tell me you don't have a shelf full of this. I'm looking at you, Timbo. They've got the hardware, you've got the hardware, they've got the software. Hacker with a heart of gold. Hey, Liz, whip your modules into shape. Quality never heard so good. They all bow down to the sysadmin facade. Step into the presence of brute, you unworthy dogs. And double development dominatrixes, they always use strict. So the next time you meet a newbie who doesn't want to read RTFM, hand them a Cult Pearl title and say, there's a really hot sex scene in the documentation, but you have to read all of it to find it.
So, my name is Adam, and I'm from the future. I apologize for this talk. Blog reviews from out to Europe are so much better than the ones from here. So, I like first principles. Every Christmas I sit down and try to solve some intractable problem from first principles, and it varies. Some good things have come out of this every now and then. Some haven't worked so well, but that's okay because, you know, it's a shot in the dark, and maybe you'll make life better. So about 5 years ago, I sat down and I went for this. Could I find a way to make movies suck less? And really, because I didn't want to have to change Hollywood, I just wanted to do this within the context of myself. So, because of course, movies are all about me. It's a personal entertainment thing. So, I came up with a thing I call trailer theory. And it works like this. First, I'm going to make some assumptions. If you have a movie, you know nothing about whether it's going to be good or bad. Even once you know what it's called, it's still not entirely clear if it's going to be good or bad, although there's hints and pedants can shut up for the duration of history. Some movies can be good. Small changes in the name can make things completely different. Some movies you like. This is why you go to movies. You go to movies to be happy. Hollywood is only in it for the money. They didn't give a crap what you think. So, and the other assumption is cinema is good. Big screen, large sound, with friends, etc. DVD, not so great. TV has ads, blah, blah, blah. So I'm assuming cinema is better than one area of cinema. And I'm assuming that the first time you see a movie is better than the second time you see a movie, or the 5th time you see a movie, or the 20th time you see a movie. Movies get worse the more times you see them. So let's come up with some logical primitives. Firstly, let's work out exactly why Hollywood doesn't care what you think. When you go to a movie, you know there's a movie, you pay some money, you get your popcorn, and hopefully you're happy when you walk out. Hollywood sees this differently. Hollywood doesn't get the popcorn cut, so don't give a crap. And they really don't care what you think because then they have all your money. Hollywood has an extra step in the middle, which is that they release a trailer. And the reason they like trailers is that they bring more people in and they get more money. And they don't really care what happens after you walk out because even if you tell your friends it's not so great, at least you went. You've paid them some money. They've turned a dog of a movie into at least something that makes a bit of money. They see trailers like this. The more times they show a trailer, the more likely it is that people will go over from thinking, oh, maybe I should see this movie to I'll see this movie. And they get more money. So in general, Hollywood is really only interested in getting in the door and they're willing to show you anything they must to get you in there. Second, how a trailer works. If we take a typical movie, it's filled with stuff of various quality. If we take a movie like Transformers, it looks a bit like this. Now, Transformers is not a good movie because it only contains 2 good bits. At least for men. I mean, the dialogue is crap, so for women that don't like giant robots or other people that don't like giant robots, there's nothing in the movie of any interest.
Megan Fox.
Well, yes, but giant robots fighting. So, for something like Transformers, the number of awesome pieces in the movie is about 2, and you can score most movies along the awesome value. If we take a good movie, it contains a whole bunch of good stuff, which I'm not going to tell you about because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I will, however, tell a few. So if anyone has anyone not seen Dark Knight yet? Really? Okay. So, of those people who also hasn't seen the trailer, those people, please put your fingers in your ears, close your eyes, and just make quiet noises to yourself right now. You've got 3 seconds to, unless you don't care. 1. Alright, so, Dark Knight is a great movie, but we don't know that for sure until we've seen it. Wait. Okay. Never mind about the putting fingers in your ears. This is why I got terrible for reviews for this thing after it was over. So the Transformers trailer is basically all the boring bits cut out and bits of good stuff kept. And the green density of the Transformers trailer is much, much higher because they're showing you all the good bits, or at least a significant proportion of the good bits. Once you've seen it over and over again, this is what watching the movie actually looks like. Because you've seen all those bits already. Oh, crap. And of course, once you've seen the good bits, it bleeds into another song, then I care about that, spoilers, okay, these are real spoilers, we won't check your eyes now. There's a Joker in the movie, and there's a bad guy, and there's a truck flipping over in a giant explosion, and the Batman can't kill the Joker. Now, but that's already been in the trailer, so that's not really a spoiler. It's trailer. But it's also ruined those bits of the movie. So, in conclusion, there is no way to distinguish between the bits of the movie that are ruined for you before you've seen the movie and the bits of the movie that will ruin it for you after other people have seen the movie and told you about the bits that spoil the movie. Thus, and you don't know how much of either there is, so you don't know if you've seen all the good bits in the movie before you go and see a crap movie, or if you've seen only a small proportion of the good bits and you go see a great movie, but not an incredible movie because it's not quite as many awesome places. So do not watch trailers. Trailers just ruin it. And I'm going to leave this up because the last critical bit is the only reason to watch trailers is if you don't think you're going to go to the movie yet. They give you a chance to turn, and I'm not going to see the movie, into avoiding the regretful situation of not going to see a movie that was awesome and having to watch it on a tiny screen with ads. So in general, once you know you're going, even if you just see the name, don't watch the trailers. Sit in the cinema doing this, like I did during Dark Knight when Watchmen was on. I don't even know what the story of Watchmen is. I've never read the comics, but I'm told it's good. So it's going to be a huge surprise.
Giant robots fighting.
Right.
It's all giant robots fighting.
And in conclusion, which I won't actually say, I liked the first Star Wars. I liked Star Wars Episode 1. It wasn't that bad. Because it had a 4-minute long trailer, which I didn't see. The double lightsaber thing, I was sitting in the audience going, whoa! Everyone else in the audience, dead silent. 40th time they'd seen it. Star Wars 2, 8-minute trailer, I timed it. Yes. In conclusion, again, do not watch trailers. Thank you.
I'm back. Well, another OSCON is pretty much coming, almost gone. Got a little bit more left tonight, tomorrow. And it just made me think of what brings us together. And this is a song that some of you might know. If you feel like singing along, feel free. If you don't feel like singing along, that's all right. Join us now, share some You'll be free, hackers, you'll be free. Join us now, share the software. You'll be free, hackers, you'll be free. But you know that? It's a problem. There's a problem sharing this app because there's people out there that aren't very nice people. They're called hoarders. Hoarders are good for everybody. Hoarders make piles of money. That is true, hackers. That is true. But they cannot help their neighbors. That's not good, hackers. That's not good. But you know what? There's hope. There's something everyone out here can do. You can code. That's right. You can write code. You can share that code. All of you can do it. You can do it. I'm not so sure about you, but everybody can contribute. So why
There's hope in the code. It's out there. You just go and grab it. You want to grab it? Raise your hand if you want to just go out and grab that code. You want to fight the hoarders. That's right. So sing with me. Join us now and share the software. You'll be free, hackers. You'll be free. Join us now and share the software. You'll be free, hackers. You'll be free. Share software. Share software, share software, share software, share software, share software, share software. Come on, everybody, sing with me. Share software. Sing it to the hoarders. Share the software, hackers. And that's the end of the lightning talks. So clap for all of them together now.